after Arrival, now we're getting into Blade Runner 2049. So yet again, another Denis Villeneuve, Roger Deakins collaboration. This movie didn't do great at the box office, similar to the original Blade Runner. So he continues to pay homage to the original in another big way by getting a big budget, not doing great with it, but people still love it.
It's like one of the biggest flops of all time, if I'm not mistaken.
Maybe
not one of the biggest of all time, but it's a big flop.
Did it lose money?
Yeah, it lost money, but again, he's just that big of a Ridley Scott fan. He's like, I'm going to lose money with you, sir.
Yeah.
But Blade Runner 2049, Seth, I'll start with you.
I like it. I think it's great. I think it's very similar to my thoughts with the old Blade Runner. I don't know which one I prefer. I probably prefer the original by like a little bit. But it's really, really good. I think, again, Deakins on his A game. Some of the sound and visuals in this are absurd, like really, really absurd, especially in that kind of first stretch with Ryan Gosling's character and kind of when Batista's in the first stretch, isn't he?
Yep.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, because I haven't seen this in a while, since like a year or so. But yeah, it's really, really good. I think the whole Blade Runner concept, kind of this futuristic, dystopian concept, it's not something that interests me as much as other science fiction films. Kind of the aspect of I prefer kind of the futuristic take of Arrival, where it's a little bit more introspective, it's a little bit more kind of self-contained, a bit smaller, and it's not kind of this huge thing. I do think Blade Runner is the sort of film that improves when it's big screen, because it's kind of made for that. Just as when I watching like any sci-fi really on the big screen is going to be better, and inevitably with something like this. But I think it's great. I think it's something that I actually don't. Well, no, I do. I'm arguing with myself in my head, by the way. So yeah, But I think I love Ryan Gosling in this. I think that some of the effects are amazing, and I think it has some really, really cool set pieces, especially in that final third as well. Not something I love, because I just Blade Runner. The concept of it isn't as interesting to me, but it is a massive technical marvel and a massive achievement. And I also think I like Denis because of the fact that he kind of takes on like a Blade Runner, taking on a Dune. It's a big task, especially when you've got, in Blade Runner's case, you've got one of the most, beloved sci-fis ever to back up off. But then in Dune's case, you've got the opposite of that, and really something that everyone thought would be impossible as a task to take on. So it's kind of commendable that he takes on these such huge tasks, and I think Blade Runner is successful. Not something that I love, but yeah, I get it. It's really, really good.
Cam?
I love Blade Runner 2049 with my whole heart. Not just say where it is in my rankings by any means, because I love most every Denny movie, especially like his last 4 with my whole heart, or his last 5, whatever it is. But I think this is like Ryan Gosling's best performance ever. I think it's one of the best performances ever. Maybe that's a hot take, probably is, and if I looked at every single performance ever, maybe that'd be wrong. But like, my memory of this is so high that I love everything about it. I think it's the best looking Denny movie, and the best shot movie. This is Roger Deakins getting absolutely freaky, deaky with it.
Did Deakins do Arrival as well?
No.
Who did Arrival?
I don't know off the top of my head. I just know Prisoners.
Not Deakins.
Yeah, carry on. You found it?
All right.
He did Solo. Wow, he cooked on Arrival.
He did Solo?
Yeah, the only two you'll have seen. Oh, he did Most Violent Year from. Oh no, I didn't say that. He did Solo and Arrival. He fucking cooked with Arrival. That's crazy.
Yeah, good for him. I thought you were saying Roger Deakins did Solo. Okay, I'm on the same page now. No, but dude, this is so good. And like the baseline test scene, I think that was entirely written by Ryan Gosling, where like determines if he's human or not, and like that's like the classic just screaming meme, very funny meme of I wanted to watch this.
I can't watch these films. Like, I love Denis, but whenever I watch, there's
so many memes from this.
In like the business, and like whenever I watch like There Will Be Blood, now it's like just fuck off, man. I can't even take this seriously anymore. I just hear it all the time. It's so annoying.
My boy scene, yeah. Abandoned my child, yeah. But this movie's fantastic. What was I gonna say? It was something, and then I completely blanked in my mind.
Ryan Gosling. moment where he finds out he's human.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell I was going to say. I like this more than the original. I know that's a hot take on this pod.
I don't know if it is a hot take, to be honest.
Well, I think George, it's like one of
on
George's
this,
favorite.
okay,
and I think
yeah.
Tyler likes the original a lot.
It's very. I think they've got the same average. I think they're quite like.
Okay,
They're both 5s for me.
Yeah, they're 5-star for me. Shoot, I guess I think I've said every rating I give it.
You actually have.
I can pass it off to George because I can oogle and ogle at this thing all day. I wanted to rewatch
Love
it, but
that
I
phrase.
prioritized. I prioritized Arrival last night just because I haven't seen Arrival in longer than I hadn't seen this, and I wish I saw it in theaters, but. On the budget talk, it did lose $80 million. So not like one of the biggest box office busts, but
Still pretty bad.
Definitely a bust. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which is why it's good to see that he's still getting opportunities because we see stuff like that killed. Because I mean, like we said,
I think Dune lost money, but that released. To be fair, that released with HBO Max, at the same time.
I think Dune will be a winner.
Dune Part 2 will be a big.
Yeah.
But because like we said before, Blade Runner 2049 was Arrival, which sci-fi, but way more grounded, not nearly as high budget as something like some space war movie. So it's good that they gave him like kind of a bigger budget. They're giving him bigger budgets, and he hasn't always returned. And people always say like, oh, like talking about box office is anti-art, but at the end of the day, box office gets people employed, keeps people employed. Director jail is a very real thing that many directors are still in and have been put in. I mean, who knows when we'll see the next Damien Chazelle movie? We've seen a lot of other directors that have gone years stretches after a flop where they just haven't really seen anything. So box office does matter at the end of the day. It just simply does. But George, Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah, kind of just echo everything Cam says. I think first and foremost, it is a technical marvel. I think right there with Dune, this is just like Denis, I guess, just a crazy achievement within his filmography. I watched like half of it yesterday because obviously I wanted to watch the whole thing, and then Victoria wanted to watch Anyone But You. So I watched half of it, and there are just so many sequences in this movie, just in the first half, where I was like, this is just mesmerizing. And this movie, this is, if you're not already excited for Dune Part 2, which you should be, 2049 should be enough to make you excited for Dune Part 2. Clearly, Denis takes such good care of his films. He clearly knows how to expand on lore, to expand on characters, but give us a refreshing story and a refreshing take, which that seems, with all the reviews that I've seen on Dune Part 2, that seems like the direction we're heading. But if you have any doubts, Blade Runner 2049 is what you should look to, because he clearly just knows how to work a sequel so well. Love every aspect of it. Obviously, the original Dune is maybe in my top 5 favorites films of all time list. I think it was last time we did our favorite lists video for ReelTok, but it may change. But yeah, I think he takes such good care of this story. He pays such good homage to the original while giving like this new generation of Blade Runner fans just something to truly marvel at. Love Ryan Gosling in this movie. I think he's just, I feel like I've used the word reserved a million times on this pod so far this episode, but it's kind of exactly what he is. He's so impactful, but he's so reserved. And I just think those types of emotional and really, confined performances are just so incredible. And I think Ryan Gosling just, obviously prior to 49, he proved himself to be one of the best working today, but I think this just kind of took him to another level.
How do you feel about Harrison Ford? I'm sorry to cut you off. How do you feel about Harrison Ford in this?
I like him.
Love him.
I love
really?
Him.
I actually
they brought him back perfectly.
I
did not
agree.
Feel like a cheap, it was not like a Jurassic World Dominion where they brought back all the OGs.
Oh, I don't mean the character. Sorry, I mean like his performance.
Oh,
love him.
Yeah,
really. Okay.
I still listen. I know you. We've had this discussion so many times. I think Harrison Ford is one of the greatest ever.
No, I really like him. I just don't fit this one particular. I think he's done a lot better for me.
No, I would never call this one of his best performances ever. But I think for being 40 years out from the original to pick it up that easily and to be able to bring back Deckard in a way that I don't think anyone expected, I think was just fantastic. I think he's
my question on this one, is this the best legacy sequel of all time?
Yes.
I mean, I don't know if there's really competition. Y'all can think on it because I
would
can't
take
think of
Top
anything.
Gun Maverick. I think Top Gun Maverick.
Top Gun Maverick's up there for sure. but I definitely
think
prefer this. But it is up there.
Yeah.
What else is there? Like I know
Gladiator
Fury
2
Road.
soon.
Roadhouse soon.
Fury Road.
Fury Road and 2049 are the two that come to mind as the two best.
Fury Road barely is a
Fury Road count though.
Yeah, because there are like three
definitely
movies.
a legacy
It's like a
sequel.
legacy
Yes.
quad.
Actually, I'll take
right?
Fury Road as the best one then. If we're saying that, then
Yeah, I'd probably take Fury Road, but 49 is
I think
very
I'd
close.
take this.
Yeah, 49 for me. 2049 isn't. I don't know. Didn't love it as much as most people. I still have to. I'll give it a rewatch. I own it on digital, so I'll give it another watch at some point. But the original Blade Runner for me is just like a perfect 5 out of 5. I love it so much, and the Blade Runner 2049. I mean, it's still a 4-star for me. Spoiler alert, but I mean, it's well known on this pod that I don't like it as much as the original. I think we're split 50-50 then on the pod, right? The original versus the sequel, of which we prefer. George, I know you're kind of.
I thought George preferred the original. Maybe he doesn't.
I'm going original.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, like all Denis films, Blade Runner 2049. There's just so much to unpack. It's how long is it? It's almost like 3 hours, right? Like 2 hours.
Maybe like 240, 245.
Yeah. So there's so much here in this whole world, and like we said, it is a legacy sequel, but it also builds on that world so much. There's just so much more to sink your teeth into because that world of Blade Runner in general, just such an awesome world. And yeah, it's definitely one of like I'd say Blade Runner 2049, Ensandi, and Arrival are like the three that I like could use a rewatch on the most to kind of really nail down my rankings. But yeah, I mean, you guys have kind of said everything that needs to be said. Beautiful looking film. Like you can pick any still image or any quick clip, and it's gonna be one of the most gorgeous shots of a sci-fi film that we've seen in the century. But with that leads us then up to a 4-year break. Because I mean, like we're talking about this stretch and how great it is, but Prisoners to Blade Runner 2049 is 2013, 2015, 2016, 2017. So real back-to-back, as we mentioned earlier in his career, he had that long gap between projects. And now we had a not long gap, but 4 years, longer than we've seen from Denis normally, to Dune Part 1. I wasn't really planning on touching on it too much because I feel like every week the last 4 weeks we got sidetracked and just started glazing Dune.
We did it literally last week when you guys weren't here.
ReelTok Collection Dune, by the way. ReelTok Collection Dune.
ReelTok Collection.